So hey everybody, I want to welcome you to the Google Forms webinar. I really appreciate it. Just so that you guys know, I'm going to have you all muted until it's time to answer questions, or ask questions, and then I will unmute you or give you the option to unmute yourselves so that you can ask some of those questions. And I see we'll have some in the chat as well, and I'll try to address those while we are talking. So again, it's Google Forms. I'm going to be talking about some of the stuff that we're doing. As you can see, my cat is stepping on all of my keyboard here and my URL address, so I have to fix that. So what is so great about Google Forms? As you guys know, I am really into Inbox Zero. I post a picture on Twitter all the time. For those of you who are friends with me on Facebook, I really love hitting Inbox Zero. The other thing about Google Forms is they save a lot of time on templates, so on Word or Excel templates, things like that. I don't need to really use those anymore. I'm able to use the templates that these forms, Google Forms, instead of that. And then the last thing, it's really important, is I am really bad at answering phone calls, let alone I'm even more horrible at returning those phone calls. So you can see it's really not good. So this really saves a lot of time for me, and I don't have to get on the phone and take information or get information directly. The other thing is that they're really flexible. So you can integrate them into your website, you can embed them into your website, or you can simply just have a link on your website. Or you can have their own page, their own standalone page, just like we had for you guys to register for this event. They're really versatile. You can pretty much put almost any kind of question type that you want, depending on the information that you need or the type of form that you're asking to do. And they're super easy to create. It's really just kind of a drag and drop kind of a thing almost. And I'll show you how to create some of those in just a few minutes. So we'll get to that. But first I'm going to show you some of the ones that I already have created, and then I'll show you how to edit those, so then you can go in and you can create your own. There are two different formats, I'll say that. One of the things too I want to go on is, I want to mention is I use different Google accounts to present from, so you can see I'm presenting from Google Forms, Google Slides here. One of the reasons, and this has nothing to do with the Google Forms, this is just how I like to present. I use a different user for presenting different things. So we have the ability to do that, and you can stack all of your bookmarks and things like that that you need for that presentation or that screen share, and you can get them all set and ready in that Chrome user. So I use different Chrome users to present. And the other thing I like is Google Slides is it's a lot easier to move from slide to slide rather than going from PowerPoint to Google Chrome to do some of this presenting. And again, this has nothing to do with QuickBooks or with Google Forms. This is just kind of a presenting, kind of free chili stuff. So how do I use Google Forms? I use them for order forms. If people want to order, I'm an Intuit reseller, so if they want to order any product, I have a Google form and they can enter that in there. Some of my clients use timesheets. Right now, I love T-Sheets, but they don't integrate with Intuit Online Payroll, and that's what we use for all of our payroll clients is IOP4A. So I can set up simple timesheets for them, for their employees to enter time in. We do surveys too. Some of you may remember last year we did a survey about where you wanted your practice to go, and we did that so that we could kind of cater and tweak some of the stuff that we were teaching in StacyK Academy. The other way that we use it is support requests. At Kildall Services, we have a flat fee and people can pay for unlimited support, email support. And so anytime somebody signs up for that, they get, they get a specific form that is just for them, and they can fill out any of their email requests or their support requests, and then we have 24 hours to do that. Any event registration. Maybe you are having some training events. You guys all saw the one that I used for this webinar registration. So if you have any event registration, one of the things that I did was I used it for my son's birthday party. It's very hard to get people to RSVP, but if you send them a form and say, hey, are you coming? It's a lot easier to do that. So it was, hey, the party is this time, this date. Are you coming? Yes, no. And it was kind of cool to be able to do that. And I have almost everybody that has RSVP'd except for one of the kids in his class. And I think the most important is the way that we use it is for customer feedback. I'm not sure if it was Brad Smith or Scott Cook at Intuit who said the greatest gift that your clients or your customers can give you is feedback. And I truly agree with that. I know that it is one of the greatest things that we get. Every time we finish a training or a consultant session, we ask people to fill out a survey, a feedback form, to make sure that we satisfy them. And we do it every week at StacyK Academy too, and I don't mind getting bad feedback. It's very helpful. Yes, it stings a little bit when somebody tells me that they weren't happy with something, but at the end of the day, it's really helpful because it allows us to go back and make changes to what we're doing so that it's better for everybody, so that we learn from it, and we're able to make that better for any clients that are coming up that we're going to be working with. So it's a really nice option. And Google Forms, like I said, they save you so much time because you can just, put them out there. I use Google Forms, and I want to apologize at this point for anybody who's watching the recording and try to get into the session. We normally, anytime you do any sort of free event, you can almost always count on a 50% attrition rate. And apparently that didn't happen because I hit my 50 limit, my 50 person, my 50 attendee limit. So I want to apologize for those of you who couldn't get in. I'm horrified about that. One thing I do want to show you here is I have all of my presentation, like I said, they're all stacked up. So I'm using a different Chrome user, and last night before we got this, I set everything that I needed for this presentation up on my bookmark bar and in the order that I needed it. This is one of the reasons why I really like having different Chrome users to present from, because I can set everything up and have it ready to go. All I have to do is log in and switch to that Chrome user, and you can see I have my slides and all the different order forms, all the different Google Forms that I'm going to show you. So it's much easier, see, to flip back and forth between the slides and this form when I need to. So this is a simple order form that we use. It's very simple to kind of edit, and you can see I'm going back and forth. I'm sorry, I'm a little, I just like to show it's very easy to flip back and forth between these two. Doesn't really have anything to do with Google Forms. It's more of a presentation best practice like I mentioned. So there's that, right? I get a little sidetracked every once in a while. I like to give you guys a little bit of free chili. Yeah? So different Chrome user, you can see I have StacyK Academy. That's the one I'm logged into, and I have multiple users. I have my regular StacyK. I have the Stacy and Seth one, and then I also have StacyK Apps, which has all of the bookmarks and the links that I use for when I'm presenting QuickBooks Online. So I have all of these different Chrome users, and it makes it a lot easier. You can see there's my Apposaurus Rex one, my StacyK Apps one. This is the one I use to present QuickBooks Online, so that I don't have to flip back and forth between applications. I just have to flip back and forth between tabs, and I'm logged in here to my StacyK Academy because that is what I am teaching today, StacyK Academy. All right, let's get back to Google Forms, right? That's what we want to talk about. So all my links, like I mentioned, we got all my links. They're all stacked. They're ready to go. I did this last night because, I'm a procrastinator, and I wait till the last minute. Not on purpose all the time, but because I have two kids, and last night we had a band concert, the night before we had soccer practice, and, that's just how I roll. All right. So we're going to get to our order form. That's what we're looking at right now. We want our Google order form. And sorry about that. I got to get to my place. And when we're talking about Google Forms, you can see there's the title and then a little bit of information about it. And then as I click on this, this is one of the questions that I have, and I can drag and drop and move this. Maybe I don't want your email to be the first question. Maybe I want the name to be the first question, and I want the email to be the second question. So I can move that. I can edit it. I can change it. I have different types of questions that I can choose from. Short answer, paragraph. I'm not really sure how much text you can put in the short answer, I'll be honest. But we have check boxes, drop down, there's a scale, grid, a date and time, and that's the one that I use for the timesheet that I'm going to show you in just a couple minutes. So if I want to add a question, I'm just going to click the plus button, and I'm going to put a question in here, and you can just call whatever you want, and that's the question. And we'll make this be, maybe a checkbox, and let me change this so that it's real, because I want you guys to see how this works out with a live form. So say, is Stacy a cat lady? I have 4 cats, that's the reason why I say that. House, yes, she has 4. Right? That's one of our options. Or we can say no, she needs more than, say no. What is it? No, she needs at least 3 more to be qualified. And then Sharon is asking me, do I do the actual design of my forms with Google Docs, or do you have someone else who does that for you? So I do all of my own forms most of the time. There are, I'd say on occasion, I might have someone help me out, my marketing person or my admin, but I would say the majority of the time I'm creating my own forms. Okay, sorry about this. You can go and have a hint text, and then you can do some data validation, and then you can also shuffle the option order. So, one time I might take a look at this and the question will have no first, and then the next time I go look at it, it'll have yes first. I can add the title, I can add an image, I can embed or add video from YouTube here. Usually what I do when the registration is done is I will say this registration is closed on this link, and I will embed a video to a recording. And then you can add a section. So when you're adding sections here, that's kind of like the end of the thing, like a page basically. So before you send this out, you always want to do a preview, and that little I that I just clicked, this is going to allow you to preview this form, and so you can start testing the form, right? Start typing in, oh yeah, she has 4, there's my email address, and phone number, and oops, I have another email. So we have this on here twice. And again, now let's go back and get rid of this. This is why you always want to go test these. So now I'm just going to delete it because it doesn't need to be there, right? So it's there 2 times, right? So I already entered it in. This is why you always need to go test before you send these out. So I don't need to have 2 places for somebody to give me their email in this form. And it's so simple to go, go back and edit these. And what's great is you can copy. If you create one form, you can copy it and edit it for other purposes if you need to. So let's go over here and we'll delete that. So I'm just deleting that question, and now let's go take a look at this and refresh. And so now it is gone. We only have one place to enter that email. Again, I can't tell you how important it is to go take a look at it, and don't just view it. You want to make sure that you are actually going through and doing and submitting something as well. That's really important. So I'm going to use this, so I'm going to go delete that one that I created, and we want to go show you now a password-enabled user form. So this is really kind of a trick that we do, and what we do is we kind of add a different section. And so what they have to do, and this down here is the actual email, or the actual form. I'm deleting that extra email, right? Because I don't need that second email. But over here, first you want to say that this is the login and give the direction on how to enter your password below. You've entered a section. And so the section, what you're saying is after they get done with this section, they want to go to the next section, which is down here, this password enabled ordered form that you see. So the way that we do this, and I'm going to include all these steps in the email follow-up. And again, I want to apologize for the people who couldn't get in. My sincerest apologies, but I'll send this into the follow-up email, all the directions on how to do this. So you're going to want to add a short answer field. You're going to name it password. You're going to do some data validation, and I'll show you all of that right here. So it's a text, and you want to make sure that it's a short answer, and then you want to enter as a text type, and then you want to say that it contains, and in this section, you want to put what the password is right here. And so mine says that, register for StacyK Academy, and then the error message. So let's go view this so you can see what happens. You give this to someone, you tell them what the password is, they start typing it in. Until they get the password right, they're going to get an error message. All right, so you can see as I'm typing this, it has that error message. And as soon as I get it done and I finish and I have the password in exactly the way that it's supposed to, that error message, that red error underneath goes away. Right? So that error message is totally customizable. So once they get and they enter that in, it disappears. So we know that the password has been entered correctly. Taking it back, there we go. Now once they get it in right, now they can click next. And now they have that order form. So you can submit that order form. I think it's so cool, right? I mean, I really love how, I know, right, Peter? It is very cool. It's super slick. It's not, a true password protection, but it is, it is kind of, it's a workaround, right? I think it's kind of cool. So let's close out that one. And now we'll go take a look at the timesheet. Timesheet is pretty simple. Employee name, I usually set this up pretty easy. Oh, and then I want to show you, this is the new format that you saw, and then this form is in the old format. See where it says try Google Forms? I'm going to click off that. I wanted to show you both of these because I have no idea how Google decides what to show you. Right? So to view responses over here in the new form, this is where you're going to go take a look at that. And then you have to click another click to open the spreadsheet to see the responses. But in the old format, you click view responses and it's done. So it's kind of cool. It all shows up in a Google spreadsheet, all of the responses, regardless of what form you're using. So heading back over to our timesheet. So Kim is saying, do you ever have people concerned about the warning to not submit passwords through Google Forms? No, because we're not actually asking them to give us any passwords. That form that I was showing you, I'm giving them the password for the form. I'm never asking them to submit any other password. And as far as the credit card information goes, it's there for such a short amount of time. There's a setting that you can put in a spreadsheet like this where in the tools where you can go set your notifications. And so I have the order form set so that I get notified every time someone submits a form, and you can choose either a daily digest or immediately, and so I have them do immediately. And what we do with that is we also, if they're not comfortable putting the credit card information in, and again, it goes so fast, I do it so quickly, I get the notification immediately, I go in and put the order in, and then I go delete the line item with the credit card. It's minutes, it's a matter of minutes that it's on there. And so what we do, if they're not comfortable doing that, is I most certainly, I will take, if somebody says, hey, can I call it in? We'll definitely take a call in, or we'll have them submit, the credit card number online, or maybe they'll call and leave me a voicemail. So I don't ever make them do that if they're not comfortable with it. So that's pretty much how we deal with that. So now going back over to our form here, as you saw me click, I'm just editing this, and I'm saying, hey, this is the date. You can choose the type of question and the date, so they're going to enter all that in. Same here with the time. I have one for time in, time out. And again, this is a situation where every employee has their own timesheet. So I don't have to worry about who this is, and then they'll log into this, they'll get a link, and usually what we do is we have those employees bookmark it so it's really easy for them to find the their log or their timesheet. So they're going to go in and say, hey, it's today, and I came in at 9 o'clock a.m. and I left at 10 a.m. and then submit, right? So now they can leave this up. Maybe they went to lunch and they can leave this screen up, and so they're going to come back here, right? And they're going to say, okay, I'm coming back from lunch. It's 13, and now it's 11 a.m. And I left for the day at 4 p.m. I'm clocking out. It's the end of the day. And submit. And they can leave this up until tomorrow. They can leave that screen up. So now going back over here, going to the form, I can view my responses. And this is a Google spreadsheet that's in my Drive. And I can see the timestamp and everything in and out. I can also add a column at the end if I need to that will do the math and add the hours for me. So I can just total them up at the end of the week and put them in to a timesheet. If I wanted, I could use IOP and enter the time in, time out, and do the clock, but I don't need to. Okay, so let's close out that, close out my order form. Let's take a look at the next one, which is a survey. You guys may have gotten this last year. I sent out this, what are your plans for growing your practice? You can see, here's a multiple choice. Here's a checkbox, so they can choose as many as they need to. So there's different ways that you can do this, and you can set it up so depending on how they answer, that's going to take them to different areas of a form. So if they answer one way, I want them to go here and answer these questions. And if they answer a different way, I would want them to go to a different place and answer some different questions. This is why when they get complex like this is why it's really important to always go and take a look at these forms before you send them out to make sure that they work. And then you can go ahead and as with all the forms, you can go view those responses. Now, the next one we have is that registration, right? So you guys, and again, this is an old Google format, not the new Google Forms. You guys all saw this and see how that works. And you know what? You can enter all of this in and now take a look at these responses. And then this is how we set up our notifications. So I'm going to go to Tools, Notification Rules. And so for my order form, if this were my order form, I would say I want any time a user submits a form. And because it's that order form information, for this one I would just do a daily digest. But if I were an order form, I would want to have that email right away. So it's going to email me to whatever email is associated with this Google account. As soon as somebody submits a form, I'm going to get an email immediately. A form has been submitted. So I know I need to come here, take a look at this, push in the order, and then delete that order, that line item in my order form. So that's how we send those notifications. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I really like it. I mean, like I said, you can use these for anything. You could use this for like a family trip. If you were planning some sort of family event, if you wanted, you could do that. It's kind of neato. So, and I see somebody saying it's showing me the old version when they log in to try the new Google Forms. And again, I don't know how it decides what you're going to do. Okay, so now this is the big one, the session evaluation. We use this every time we have a session or we do some sort of support call with a client. And they're all, if you look at the live form, they're all rating us. I would hope that they're all going to rate us, 5s. I don't want anybody to rate me as a 1. I'm hoping that they're all 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, right? So please give me all 5s. But if they don't, I do give them the option to put in, what is the suggestion that we could do to make this better? In this form particularly, this isn't set as a required one, but it probably should be required, because if they're giving me 1, they're not giving me all 5s. I want to know why, only so that I can make it better for the next person. And a lot of times we can say, hey, if you give us feedback and it's really super fabulous, can we list this as feedback, as a review on our Find a Pro Advisor profile? So if somebody says, hey, had an amazing time, you guys are great, I can go in, use their email address, and it's saying, please use your email if you said yes to the previous question. So we can, as pro advisors, go in and get permission from our clients so we can go to find a pro advisor and we could submit the review form as long as we have their permission. And this is a great way to get that feedback because, it's really hard to get them to go to the Find a Pro Advisor website and give us some feedback. Okay. So this is what the Google Forms looks like. docs.google.com/forms is the URL for that. And this is, again, the new forms. The older one doesn't look like that. To create a new one, click that red plus, and it's going to be untitled. I'm going to give it a name. Here's the name of my form. I'm going to give it some sort of description, right? Stuff about stuff. And then I'm going to add a question, and we'll have this question be, a drop-down menu. And so we'll give them option, we'll just leave that as option 1, and then we'll put in option 2, and then we'll say option 3, not option 2 again. We'll make this required, and then we'll add another section, right? And so if we need to, this is how you add a section. This is basically taking it to the next page, sort of, right? I'm going to delete that because we really don't need that. And we'll go, you can change the color palette. With the new forms, I'm not too keen. If I go add a header image, it automatically changes the colors. You can see it. I don't have any choice over that. And if I were to go change the color, it's going to take away the header. And I'm not a fan of that. But this little running guy down here, this is how I can get back to the old Google Forms, the one that we've had forever and ever and ever, just that little guy running away from the new forms. So we can kind of go back to that. So clicking on that, and you can see I have a lot more functionality. So you can go back and forth if you need to. It's pretty handy. So Kim is saying this would be great for value billing request forms on your website, so you know what they're expecting when you contact them. Yes, absolutely. You can use these for anything, right? So on this form, I can show the link for another response. If I want, I can publish this and make it public, which I have never done. And then you can also allow the responders to edit their responses after submitting. So this is what the form looks like if I were to send it to you, if I send the link. So there's the title, description, I'm going to choose an option, click submit, right? Thanks, bye. I couldn't edit that. You can see that thanks, bye that I typed in there. I haven't figured out where to edit that. I'm duplicating this right now, so I'm going to create a second question. But that confirmation page in the new forms, I haven't figured out how to edit that. So I'm still a little preferential to the old forms. So for this one, to create a new question, what I usually do is just duplicate the one before it and then change it to whatever question type I need it to be. So right here, we're doing a scale from 1 to 5, good, bad. And now we'll go refresh that page. Oh, continue. There we go. It's giving us the new question. But we'll just go here. I'll close this out. We'll start over. Sorry about that. And we'll go view the live form. So now that we've updated it, there's my first question, and there's that second question that I just added that has that scale. So the last thing that I want to do is I have a call to action for you guys. And the first thing is a challenge. I'd like you guys to pick one thing that you can do, that you can use Google Forms for in your practice. And I'm going to send out a follow-up email. You guys will all get that. And again, to those of you who signed up and didn't get in because it was full, I apologize sincerely for that. But you've got this recording. So I'm going to send you all a link to this recording. And in it, you'll also have a Google form for you to fill out to share the link to whatever Google form you decide to create. And then, so it'll ask you if you want to share it. You can say yes or no. And then if you say yes, it'll also ask you if we have permission to post it on our Between Wall and Main Facebook group. So if anybody is interested in joining that, you can just go to Facebook and search for Between Wall and Main and ask to join, and I'll let you in. My next call to action is StacyK Academy. Sign up. We are starting round 3 on February 11th. I have lots of tips and tricks like I showed you today with Google Forms to share throughout StacyK Academy. And if you need some more information about it, just email me. Let me know. I'm more than happy to give you a little bit more information about StacyK Academy. We had some really amazing success stories from the first 2 rounds. And then the other thing I want to mention is next week on the 20th, I'm doing another free webinar, and this is all about Chrome apps and extensions. So again, lots of good stuff that I like to share with you guys. So I want to thank all of you for spending the time with me today, and I'll see you soon.